Khris Middleton has been playing on another level. Let's get into this. The Milwaukee Bucks are finally in the NBA Finals, and Game 1 actually starts later tonight and would be yesterday for you guys. The Bucks were able to get to the NBA Finals due to Giannis and Khris Middleton especially, which is the topic of this video, just playing out of their mind, having crazy games, taking their teams over the top, and really providing buckets when their team needs it most. In last season's playoffs in the bubble, the Bucks had a pretty disappointing run where they lost to the Miami Heat when a lot of people expected them to be an easy favorite to at the very least make the NBA Finals, but they fell short, and it was due to the fact that Giannis, but also Khris Middleton, just didn't play well whatsoever. There were also reports out that Khris Middleton hasn't touched a basketball in 2 months before that NBA playoffs in the bubble, which is just crazy for any NBA player not to touch a basketball whatsoever. There was just a lot of things going on with Khris Middleton, and it was showing in his play. He was losing his confidence, he was having terrible shooting nights, he just wasn't able to hit shots at times, he just struggled overall, so this is a very good redemption story for him in this year's playoffs. Khris Middleton plays a very crucial role on this Milwaukee Bucks team. He's that guy who they give the ball to in the clutch and he could just get a bucket. He's a great mid-range shooter, he's a great three-point shooter, and he can also get all the way to the basket at times as well. And he's a great counterpart to Giannis, who's mostly just a paint guy, and Khris Middleton could hit all those threes. He's a great three-point shooter, so it's just a great mismatch thing with that. But this season, Khris Middleton completely took his game to the next level. He's having crazy games in these playoffs. He's having 40-point outings. He's averaging close to 30 in these playoffs. He's just playing extremely well. And he's not putting up empty numbers where he's just putting up crazy numbers on poor shooting nights. He's shooting very efficiently as well. And he opened up his game a little bit more this playoffs, and I think that's really the reason why he's playing so well. In years past, Khris was just a guy who just got buckets for them and just could score at will. But in this playoffs, what made him a little bit different is he's passing a lot more and he's getting a ton more assists, which helps you out so much as a scorer, but also it helps out your team, of course, because now they're getting open shots. So when Khris Middleton is at the top of the key, a lot of times that's where he does most of his work, hitting those three-pointers or hitting that pull-up mid-range jump shot. He can also have that mid-range post turnaround fadeaway that he does very effectively as well, but most of the time he's going to either hit that three or hit that pull-up jump shot. But now some teams are sending double teams at him once he gets hot, which he's gotten hot a lot in these playoffs. As I mentioned, he had multiple 40-point games in these playoffs, so teams would send a double team at him. Now he can easily pass to his wide open teammate, whoever that guy doubled from, and that guy can either get that wide open three or drive all the way to the basket for an easy layup or dunk. It just makes his team so much better. And now when there's a threat that he's going to kick it to his wide open teammates, now the defense has to think twice before sending that double team. And then now if they don't send that double team, now it's just one-on-one and it's easy work for Khris Middleton on whoever's defending him. He's just been so great. You can really tell after that last season's playoffs where he really struggled, Khris Middleton went in the gym and really put in a ton of work to get his shooting percentages up, get more moves integrated into his offense, and also be more of a passer and really work on that end of his game. At this point, I would honestly say that Khris Middleton is a high-level all-star. I can't necessarily say he's a superstar yet because he hasn't done this long enough, but if he continues to play like this in the rest of the playoffs and maybe potentially wins this finals for the Bucks, along with Giannis of course, but if they win the finals and he plays extremely well in basically every finals game and he comes into next season playing extremely well and playing this new brand of basketball that he's been playing, becoming more of a passer as well as just being very efficient on the offensive end, I could easily see and say that Khris Middleton would become a superstar. And at that point, the Bucks become real juggernauts where you have two superstars in Giannis and Khris Middleton. And as I mentioned, they mismatch each other so perfectly where Giannis kills you by going all the way to the basket and just dunking over whoever's defending him. And if you send a double team at him or put up that wall, they have Khris Middleton to kick out to hit those threes, and he's going to be very efficient on it. And as well as everybody else in the Bucks, Brook Lopez, they have a ton of three-point shooters around Giannis as well, so it just makes him such an efficient and deadly team. Because every all-star in the NBA, even basically every superstar, always has one playoffs where they kind of struggle. But the real question is, or maybe a regular season where they struggle, but the real question is, how do they respond from that? Some players, they wilt, and after they completely have a terrible playoffs or a terrible regular season, they completely lose all their confidence and they go from all-star or superstar to just downhill and eventually just become a bench player. Or there's other guys that have a bad playoffs or a bad playoff series and they completely work on their game during the offseason, really work hard on their game, and come into the next year completely a different player, and they're better for it. And I think the second option is really the thing Khris Middleton did. He obviously put in a ton of work in the offseason. He was getting criticized a decent amount by the Milwaukee Bucks fans and fans around the NBA for just not being efficient in last year's playoffs and just not playing well whatsoever. He really went into the offseason, worked extremely hard, and came in a completely different player and added things to his game. And now the moment is definitely not too big for him, and he's playing extremely well. And he's going to his first NBA Finals. But who do I think is actually going to win this playoff series, and how do I think Khris Middleton is going to perform? Now, I think this playoff series is a very tough matchup for the Bucks, but I will say in the past series, I thought there were a few series where I personally thought the Bucks would have lost, but they ended up winning those series and playing extremely well in those series as well. So the Bucks have definitely impressed me a ton, and Khris Middleton has also definitely impressed me a ton. But I think this is going to be a very difficult matchup, just seeing how well Chris Paul is playing, Devin Booker is playing, DeAndre Ayton is playing, and their whole team is playing just as a whole. They're playing a great brand of basketball. They're playing great defense. It's just going to be very tough for the Bucks to win this series, but there's obviously potential that they could win it. They've been playing extremely well these whole playoffs as well. They're also playing a great brand of basketball. They're playing great defense as well. They're hitting their three-pointers. They're just playing very well. I think it's going to be a very close series, and I expect both Khris Middleton and Giannis to perform extremely well like they have been in these whole playoffs. But overall, I think the Suns are definitely the favorites, and honestly, that's my pick to win the NBA Finals. But I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I think it's either going to go to 6 or maybe even 7 games, and I could definitely easily see the Bucks winning the series as well. Because when you saw, I know this isn't that important, but when you saw the celebrations between the Bucks and the Suns after they made it to the NBA Finals, the Suns were celebrating, cheering, extremely excited, and the Bucks seemed like the job really wasn't finished and they were just getting ready to prepare for the NBA Finals. So that's obviously a great thing for the Bucks perspective. But overall, I think the Suns have too much talent and they're the favorites at this point. But we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a great series. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think that Khris Middleton really took his game to the next level, and for that reason the Bucks could win the championship this season? Or do you think Khris Middleton is not really that kind of guy? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe and hit that post notification bell. It really helps me out a lot. Until next time, peace out, guys.